Oh, hello, people. I was just putting away my beekeeping smoker. Well, welcome to our screening of The Haunting. I'm so sorry I couldn't join you in person for this. It's one of my very favorite films, but I've been so busy working on my Halloween costume. I'm going to be Samantha Stevens from Bewitched. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I think I'm up to the challenge. I've almost got that down. Now, the film we're about to see is from 1963, and it's directed by Robert Wise. It's very scary. It's on many of those lists of the scariest films ever made. Robert Wise remembers fondly making the film because it reminded him of his days of working with Val Lewton, the master of suspense on other horror films. Now, Julie Harris plays Eleanor, and she's focused on for much of the film. And she talks about being haunted by her character. She would have bouts of crying and depression, and it's really fascinating. Do you think that perhaps she was haunted on the set? Who knows? The special effects are minimal, but the overall effect is maximal. It's really a frightening film. There's something menacing at Hill House. Well, now, the history of film is rife with examples of the combination of glamour and menace. It runs the gamut from subtle to overt, and always heightens the drama of any scene that it's in. Now, this being Halloween week, I thought I would show you a few notable examples with increasing intensity. To start off with, we have Sophia Loren and Alan Bedell in one of my very favorite scenes from Arabesque from 1966. It's a little heavier on the glamour, a little lighter on the menace, but it's still there as an undercurrent.
Come here, my darling. I brought you some presents.
How sweet. More shoes? Darling, you've already given me dozens.
I couldn't resist these. It was quite a coincidence, Mr. Pollock turning up at the right place at the right time. Don't you think so?
I would hardly call it a coincidence.
Neither would I. How do you account for it, my flower?
He must have been following Yusuf's man. The one who was killed.
Do you think so?
It's the only explanation.
You wouldn't mention it, of course.
Those are rather attractive, don't you think?
Exquisite. I really must thank whoever was responsible for getting him there.
Then you wanted him to have it?
Certainly. Who else is going to decipher it? I want you to find him again. I want you to stay with him until he finishes his work. And then I want you to bring the answers to me. Is that clear, my angel?
Very clear.
I know that I can trust you to do that for me. Unless, of course, you're growing weary of my little gifts. Oh, and if I don't hear from you by noon tomorrow, try and think of some remote corner of the world where I won't find you. I don't think you can. But try.
I don't know about you, but I always salivate over those shoes. The ever-glamorous Audrey Hepburn is our next subject. In this scene from 1963's Charade, she evades the murderous Walter Matthau by hiding out in the prompter's booth of the Paris Opera House. Especially noteworthy is director Stanley Donen's use of light and shadow to highlight her exquisite eyes in this suspenseful scene.
All right. I know you're in there, Mrs. Lappet. Come on out. Do you hear me? Come on out. I don't want to kill you, but I will. Come on out. Game is over, Mrs. Lappet.
Next, an overwrought and extremely well-dressed Doris Day, driven half mad by threats delivered in a sing-songy voice, is confronted by her assailant in midnight lace.
I've come to keep our appointment, Mrs. Preston. Everyone will understand. It's all been too much for you.
Tony.
Your mind couldn't take it anymore. You threw yourself over the terrace with a little help from me.
Tony!
I hope tonight's film leaves you on the edge of your seat. It's every bit as suspenseful as the clips that I've just shown you, perhaps quite a bit more. You'll see a few familiar faces, including Lois Maxwell, Moneypenny from James Bond fame. Now, before I go, I'll leave you with this one last little moment with Audrey. Enjoy.